Hello, friends. We're just about ready to start, so I'm going to get you to round yourselves up. Come on over and, oh my gosh, what an exciting time. I'll give you a moment just to gather yourselves. You don't want to get in trouble with me, Catherine. That's for sure. Make yourselves at home. Grab yourself a drink. My name is Claire Bowditch. I am a local author and musician, broadcaster. And in life, there are a few things that I adore more than occasions where we get to come together and give acknowledgement and possibly big cheques to worthy artists. So, welcome to the 2022 Victorian Premier's Literary Awards. Before we begin, I would of course like to acknowledge acknowledgement of country. Here we are together, gathered on First Nations land, Wurundjeri people of the Kulin. I pay my respects to elders past, present, emerging. I pay my respects to all First Nations people here in the room with us. We're here today to celebrate and announce the winners of the 2022 Victorian Premier's Literary Awards, which honour literary achievement by Australian writers. The awards are administered by the Wheeler Centre on behalf of the Premier of Victoria, and we're thrilled to have Catherine Andrews and the Honourable Danny Pearson, MP, Minister for Creative Industries, here with us today to celebrate and to announce the winners. That's it. We'll hear more about the awards themselves shortly, but first a little bit of housekeeping for this evening. Now, please do excuse me if I keep needing to put my sunglasses on. It's so bright with this many stars in the room, and I've just found out I need glasses. So this is the best I could do. But listen, housekeeping. All the shortlisted books here are for sale from our fabulous bookseller readings, of course. Shout out. Where are you guys? That's it. Fantastic. Thank you to Reading so much for being here. Thank you for all that you do for this state and for us, crew, all of us. You may even, if you're lucky, be able to buy a book and then chase down the winners as they're announced. Try and be gentle. It is very exciting though. So there is, and when I say winners, I mean every single human being who has bothered to write a book that's for sale over there, taken that time, but also all those shortlisted and those who will really walk home with significant life-changing acknowledgement today. There is an accessible portaloo just outside the M Pavilion. It's somewhere around here, and also toilets across the road at the Arts Centre. Good luck. This event is being live streamed and recorded today, and we welcome online viewers. Where are you, onlineies? Okay, up here? Great, here. Oh, hi guys, how are you? Sorry you couldn't be here, it's fabulous. Glad you are joining us though, welcome. And I want to say that just, in all honesty, wherever you're watching from, you can follow the updates online and you can also join in the conversation. We'd love to hear from you. There's a special hashtag, it's hashtag VPLA 2022. Now, I'd like to acknowledge and invite Wheeler Centre CEO Caro Llewellyn to share a few remarks. Welcome, Caro, warmly, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Claire. And hang on, I've just got to get myself organised.
Yes,
so
allow me to please.
yes, thank you very much. Thank you. It's so amazing to be outdoors with you all here tonight. It's such an honour. I am the CEO of the Wheeler Centre for Books, Writing and Ideas, and I'd like to begin by acknowledging the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, traditional owners of the land we're gathering on today. And I'd also like to acknowledge all First Nations people joining us and pay my deepest respects to elders past and present. The land was never ceded, and we are grateful and privileged to be here today. Thank you. It's my great pleasure to welcome the Honourable Danny Pearson, MP, Minister for Creative Industries, Catherine Andrews, the Wheeler Centre's patron Maureen Wheeler, and our chair Susan Oliver, and all of our board members. I'd also like to acknowledge our partners at Creative Victoria, Pavilion, thank you for having us here, our friends Clive and friends at the Sofitel Hotel, and the amazing team at the Wheeler Centre for making this evening possible. To all our distinguished guests, writers, readers, booksellers, publishers, editors, proofreaders, friends and supporters, welcome and thank you for joining us here tonight. How amazing. Doesn't matter where this is, it seems to be in the way. Doesn't matter, yes, so I didn't write that in the speech. Looks like I did, but I didn't. Seriously, how amazing for us all to come together again as a literary community in the real world, not on Zoom, here at the Pavilion to celebrate the 37th Annual Victorian Premier's Literary Awards. 37 years. And as Claire said, we're also thrilled to be live streaming tonight's event, and hello to all of you at home. So it's amazing to have this event accessible to people all around Australia, and for everybody to be able to witness the fiercely talented Australian writers being celebrated for their creativity and excellence tonight. Well, the past 2 years have been exceptionally challenging for everyone, but throughout lockdowns and periods of uncertainty, storytelling has continued to bring us much needed solace. These awards are a wonderfully positive and uplifting way to start the year, toasting great writing, great books, and great authors, along with their fearless publishers and amazing booksellers. It's a timely reminder of the sense of hope that writing and literature can provide when we need it most. Tonight, we will reveal the winning works and hear from the winning writers for each of the 8 award categories: fiction, non-fiction, drama, poetry, Indigenous writing, young adult writing, the prize for an unpublished manuscript, and the People's Choice Award, as well as, of course, as the Victorian Prize for Literature, the country's richest single literary prize at a glorious $100,000. Whoever gets it, you can roll on the way out. I'm very pleased to announce a new addition to the prize for an unpublished manuscript and an exciting new partnership for the Wheeler Centre. With the generous support of RMIT Culture, tonight's winner of that award will have the opportunity to spend 2 weeks at Macraith House on the Mornington Peninsula, working on their manuscript, which is unpublished at the moment, but will shortly thereafter be published, I'm sure, at this exceptionally beautiful, quiet, and very inspiring retreat. It won't surprise you, I'm sure, to learn that recently the Wheeler Centre has faced a few obstacles in delivering our much-loved live events. There's been earthquakes, there were warnings of tsunamis, there was almost rain today. So I'd like to take a moment to thank our board of directors who stood by us and cheered us along as we kept the ship on a straight course throughout the challenges of COVID. I'm incredibly proud, and I'm probably going to get choked up, to say that not only did we keep the ship straight, we also discovered opportunities to enrich our offering along the way. Susan Oliver, chair of the board, has been tireless in her support for the Wheeler Centre and for me, and I'm incredibly grateful to her for every shoulder to the wheel moment we've had together in these last 18 months. There's been a few of them. I'd also like to acknowledge the hard work of our colleagues at Creative Victoria and the Premier's Office for their unstinting commitment to the Australian cultural community. These are the people the public don't often see, working behind the scenes to keep everything seamless. But tonight, I'd like to draw attention to all of those in the room who are those people and give you each a very special thank you for all your work throughout the pandemic to ensure arts and culture has continued to thrive in Victoria. These awards can quite literally change the course of the winners' lives, recognising and sometimes launching the careers of some of the country's most respected and acclaimed writers. I'd like to pay a special homage to Premier Daniel Andrews and his government for their continued commitment to the prize and their broader support of arts and culture. Before I hand over to the Minister, which will be just in very quickly, I'd like to take a moment to thank my team at the Wheeler Centre for remaining cheerful, being resilient and adaptive despite the challenges we've faced in our work in the last 2 years. This is where I get choked up. Okay, so you have each remained committed to the value of books and public discussion, their vital role in challenging assumptions, inspiring new ideas, and most importantly, creating space for unencumbered joy. My heartfelt thanks to each of you for staying the course and ensuring we continue to support writers and readers everywhere. So as we look forward toward a new year, let's prepare to recognise and to celebrate the incredible breadth and depth of artistic and literary talent in this country. And what better way to do so with these incredible awards. Thank you all for being here. It's beautiful to see your faces. And now it's my great pleasure to introduce the Honourable Danny Pearson, MP, Minister for Creative Industries. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Caro, for that very warm and heartfelt welcome. And I too would like to begin by acknowledging the First Peoples and traditional owners on this land and pay my respects to elders past and present and to all First Nations peoples who are with us this evening. Well, tonight's shortlist reflects the strengths of First Nations writers in this country, the diversity and depth of talent, and the immense power of storytelling and truth-telling. I'd also like to acknowledge Catherine Andrews, who is representing the Premier tonight. Kathy's a very good friend of the Wheeler Centre and these awards, and she's a passionate champion of the importance of reading, writing, and the creative industries more broadly. To Maureen and Tony Wheeler AO, patrons and namesakes of the Wheeler Centre, whose generosity continues to provide a platform for books, writing and ideas. Susan Oliver, Chair, and other members of the Wheeler Centre Board and the whole Wheeler Centre team, our esteemed judging panel, and finally the 26 extraordinary writers we are celebrating tonight. Now, recently I returned from leave, and it's certainly a joy to have your leave coincide with the shortlists being published. And I thoroughly enjoyed myself working my way through the list. I don't think I will have gone as far as Catherine would have gone, but nonetheless, it was a solid performance in my leave. Now, over the past few years, the global pandemic has too often forced us to retreat to the safety of our homes. And with that, a great love affair with literature was reignited for so many of us. After the novelty of social Zoom calls quickly faded, some took refuge in puzzles, streaming services and sourdough, while others, many of us who are here tonight, discovered that the right book can turn isolation into something else entirely. It's through the pages of books that we found comfort and connection, meaning, adventure, solace, entertainment, inspiration, and so much more. And I know myself that reading was not only a worthy diversion and distraction, but it gave me insight, it gave me perspective, and allowed me moments of quiet contemplation and to escape the noise that surrounded me and others. Literature has a profound power to make us ask questions and seek answers, to find ourselves and others in pages as we turn them, to let us explore real worlds and imagine in the vast expanse of our minds and in the comfort of our homes. It's the compelling talent, it's the compelling talent we have in this very room tonight that we owe a debt of gratitude for the stories they've given us to see through. Now, I'm particularly pleased and proud to see so many strong entrants from First Nations peoples. You know, I firmly believe our best days lay before us, and we will never reach our potential as a state or a nation until we reach treaty and until we respect First Nations peoples. Storytelling is so vitally important. And I think to see so many great Indigenous writers tell their stories, stories of the longest continuous culture in the world, is something we should celebrate and honour and respect. And it forms part of Creative State 2025. And it's so wonderful to see so many strong entrants here tonight. So to all the writers, publishers and booksellers who sustained us through many difficult days and nights over the past 2 years, and on behalf of all Victorians, I say thank you. I'm so pleased that we're able to come together this evening in our awakened City of Literature for the 2022 Victorian Premier's Literary Awards. And these awards have an incredibly strong track record of supporting, amplifying and celebrating important voices. They've taken vital, diverse Australian stories to a wider audience, and they've uncovered and introduced us to new literary talent. It's no accident that the Victorian Prize for Literature is the most valuable literary award in the country and is a point of great pride for me, for the Premier and our government. It is also an important statement about the value we place on writers and writing in this state. But acknowledging excellence is only part of the equation, and contrary to the enduring romantic image of a lone writer hunched over a keyboard, literature isn't an exclusively solitary pursuit. There is a robust and passionate community that stands behind them. And we are just so fortunate to be home to so many creative workers and thinkers who together come together and collaborate and innovate, and they challenge and they make us try and think of the world in a different way, in a richer way and in a better way. They push us to places we wouldn't normally go. They make us think of ourselves in a different way, and they shine a different light on who we are. And we are just so incredibly blessed and fortunate to have so many of you as members of our community and with us here tonight. There are just so many incredible organisations working year-round in Victoria to nurture and support our literary talent. And a few weeks ago, I announced an $85 million package for creative organisations, large and small, across our state. And this included multi-year funding for the likes of the Wheeler Centre, Writers Victoria, the Melbourne Writers Festival, the Emerging Writers Festival and Liminal. And this is an important investment in the infrastructure of support around our writers. Because if we can connect writers to one another, to readers, to sources of inspiration, to opportunities to develop their practice, we'll ensure that groundbreaking, important and wildly entertaining Australian stories are told. And we'll ensure that the work of our local writers feature on bookshelves throughout the world, on bestseller lists, on stages and screens, and on award shortlists like this one. To each of the 26 finalists tonight, congratulations and good luck. Whatever the result this evening, we applaud and we celebrate your achievement, and we thank you for the contribution you've made to our literary and cultural life. You have made us richer. You have made us stronger. And you have made us better. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Minister Pearson. Thank you, Caro. Let's get into it, because I don't have a contingency plan. And I'm not sure if the roof comes down here. So, rock and roll. And we're keeping in mind here, of course, and Minister Pearson, all are aware of this, the stat that came out a few years ago that the average writer earns $13,000 a year here in Victoria. And this is why we're so excited about this, because a living wage for Australian artists is deeply important. Our first category to that end for tonight is the People's Choice Award. The winner of the People's Choice Award is selected by the Australian public, who friggin' adore you. The people voting for their favourite work published in 2021. And as you know, it's pretty fierce competition. It's not just those on the official VPLA shortlist. The winner of this award will receive $2,000. Over 13,000 votes, or 1,300, but I added a zero, were received this year, and why not? Okay, and I'd like to invite Minister Pearson back to the stage to announce the winner. And Minister Pearson, I'm going to warn you, I have put red lipstick on the microphone. My apologies.
Okay, so the winner of the People's Choice Award is Tiger Daughter by Rebecca Lim, published by Allen & Unwin.
I would first like to pay my respects to the peoples of the Kulin Nation on whose lands we are meeting, and to all our First Nations peoples, and to Minister Pearson, Catherine Andrews, the Wheeler Centre, Kenneth Hain QC, fangirling, and other honoured guests, including the brilliant writers, creators, publishers, booksellers and editors here today. I'm deeply honoured to find myself on a YA shortlist with Felicity and Leanne. What struck me about seeing our books together is that they're all essentially born of rage at the violence and danger that women and girls are often placed in, casually or deliberately. Books like these would have seemed inconceivable to me as a migrant child reader, borrowing books from dusty book buses and tiny municipal libraries. Books like ours simply did not exist when I was learning to read in the 1970s, and people like Leanne, Larissa, Randa, Gary, Evelyn, Veronica, Amani, Chelsea, Maxine and I did not exist in stories for children. People like us were only occasional caricatures or stereotypes in the media. To be on a wider shortlist like this one is testament to how far the publishing industry has come just in my lifetime. And this shortlist demonstrates the rage and fury can be forces for vital change, activism and creation. And I'm really sorry, I'm so nervous I can't breathe. It's amazing to me that a book that tests the myth of the model minority and shines a light on serious issues that face minority women on a daily basis, like systemic bias, coercive control, financial abuse, and gaslighting, can win a People's Choice Award. I would like to thank my publisher, Eleanor Nunwin, especially my long-suffering publishers Jodie Webster and Eva Mills, and my long-standing friend and editor Hilary Reynolds, for sensitively guiding a story into existence that begins with a desperate act of self-destruction. I'd also like to thank the publishing, marketing, rights and editorial teams, including Elise, Liz, Jennifer, Maria, Yvette, Sherilyn and Kerry for their support, friendship, patience and advocacy over the years. I ask a lot of questions, and anyone who's spoken to me for 5 seconds knows that, and they've always answered them and done much more. Congratulations to all who were nominated, commended and shortlisted, and thank you to the judges for your care and consideration. Having been one myself, I know of the agony that goes into the final decision. We are all winners for simply getting our stories out. Thank you.
Congratulations again. Our next category is the prize for fiction. This year, the judges were Melanie Cheng, Bram Presser, Odette Kellada, and convener Angela Meyer. And the shortlisted titles are After Story by Larissa Behrendt, published by University of Queensland Press. Bodies of Light by Jennifer Down, published by Text Publishing. Echolalia by Bryony Doyle, published by Penguin Random House. The Dogs by John Hughes, published by Upswell Publishing. Smokehouse by Melissa Manning, published by University of Queensland Press. And Permafrost by S.J. Norman, published by University of Queensland Press. And now we welcome the Minister to announce a winner.
Okay, so the winner for the prize for fiction is Smokehouse by Melissa Manning, University of Queensland Press.
Hopefully that's right. Can everyone hear me? Minister, Ms Andrews, thank you. I'm incredibly honoured to accept the Victorian Premier's Literary Award for Fiction. Honoured and a little bit gobsmacked, to be honest. I'd like to acknowledge that Smokehouse was written on Boonwurrung country, unceded lands, and to pay my respects to elders past, present and future. A huge thanks to the Wheeler Centre for the great work that it does to support the literary community, and to the Victorian Premier's Literary Awards. Massive thanks to the judges. I can't even begin to imagine how difficult a task it must be. It was both a surprise and a delight to find myself on the shortlist with such extraordinary authors, including those who are on the list for commendations in the fiction category, and particularly joyful to find myself on the list with my very good friend Jennifer Down, whose talent is incalculable. I owe a debt of deep gratitude to Grace Heifetz from Left Bank Literary. Grace is my extraordinary agent, and to all of the team at University of Queensland Press, in particular to Louise Cornege in publicity, Felicity Dunning, my amazing editor, and to Aviva Tuffield, my publisher, who had just the most extraordinary vision for Smokehouse that made the book so much more than I could have hoped for it to be. To the Australian writing community, wow, what a supportive, incredible bunch of people are out there. To those people who connect on social media, and to those of us who connect face-to-face in writing workshops, the support, care, and love and cross-promotion is invaluable. There are an awful lot of people out there who are incredibly talented, who are yet to be published, and I very much look forward to seeing their work in bookstores sometime soon. To my friends and family, thank you for always being there and to believing. And finally, to my husband, Paul, who has never for one moment had any doubt that I could. Thank you.
Massive congratulations. It's really hard not to just sort of run and hug everyone who is one, but that would be illegal. So none of that. Well done. Bravo. Our words are speaking for us tonight. Now, the next category is a prize for non-fiction. This year, the judges were Madison Connaughton, Gaisan Haj, Rebecca Harkins Cross, represent, Daniel James, and convener Quinn Eads. And the shortlisted titles are Coming of Age in the War on Terror by Randa Abdel Fattah, published by New South. Summertime, Reflections on a Vanishing Future by Danielle Selamaya, published by Penguin Random House. Black and Blue, a memoir of racism and resilience by Veronica Gorey, published by Scribe Publications. The Mother Wound by Armani Hayder, published by Pan Macmillan, Australia. Buried Not Dead by Fiona McGregor, published by Giramondo Publishing, and Another Day in the Colony by Chelsea Watergo, published by University of Queensland Press. And now we welcome the Minister to announce the winner.
The winner of the prize for non-fiction is The Mother Wound by Armani Hayder, published by Pan Macmillan, Australia.
I'm honoured to accept this award, and I want to acknowledge that The Mother Wound was written on unceded Aboriginal land, and that all the places mentioned in it have been in one way or another affected by colonisation. I am humbled that The Mother Wound was shortlisted for this award in the company of powerful Aboriginal writers, from whom I still have a lot to learn. I'm also humbled that my co-nominee, Randa Abdel Fattah, is a writer I have looked up to since I was a young university student, and was one of the first people to read my draft manuscript. I hope that any aspiring Muslim women writers witness this moment as confirmation that their stories do matter and deserve a space in the literary landscape. May we continue to carve out that space to tell our stories in our own words with the nuance and complexity they deserve. I want to thank everyone who has connected with my book in the 7 months it has been out, especially the victim survivors who have sat with my words despite knowing that they might trigger their own trauma. My agent Grace at Left Bank Literary and my publisher Kate Blake at Pan Macmillan, who were both incredibly supportive through the writing process, a lot of which took place in the first lockdown. I'm so glad to have you both in my corner. My editor Danielle Walker and publicist Claire Keary at Pan Macmillan, who have both been generous and gentle with me as a first-time author. The Sweatshop family at Sweatshop Western Sydney, who have been incredibly supportive through my journey to become a writer and develop my craft. My husband, my sisters, Noor and Isla, and my friends who all believed in this book from the moment I declared in a fit of frustration that I would write it as soon as I got the chance. My beautiful cousin Zainab, a survivor of war crimes, for providing her account to me and giving me permission to share it in The Mother Wound. And finally, my mum and grandmother for shaping and guiding me. It is a deep honour to be able to tell their stories and share my memories of them in a way that reaches so many people. Thank you.
Thank you, Amani. Our next category is the prize for drama. This year the judges were, with thanks, Sonia Suarez, Angus Serini and convener Rinsky Ginsberg. And the shortlisted titles are Return to the Dirt by Steve Peary, presented by Queensland Theatre. Archimedes' War by Melissa Reeves, presented by Darebin Speakeasy. And Milk by Dylan Vandenberg, presented by Currency Press and the Street Theatre. Now we welcome the Minister to announce a winner.
So the winner of the prize for drama is Milk by Dylan Vandenberg, Currency Press and the Street Theatre.
Hello. Oh, there are so many people. Usually I am sitting at home alone, Minister, but not hunched over a keyboard. It's a bowl of chips. It is an absolute privilege to accept this award tonight on the lands of the Kulin Nations, and I pay my respects to elders past and present. And I also extend that acknowledgement to my own Palawa ancestors. My tiny, tiny play is dwarfed by their resilience and their love, and their story of survival is me being here today and my daughter and all of those to come down the line. To the Wheeler Centre, thank you. To the Premier of Victoria, to the Victorian Government, Minister, thank you. It was a tremendous honour just to be included on a list with writers like Melissa and Steve. So, you know, often I'm just glad that someone remembers my name when I'm ordering a coffee. So this kind of recognition is unbelievable. There are a few people to thank. Come on, Dylan, don't be boring. We have to thank the Street Theatre in Canberra, especially Caroline Stace, the artistic director, who's believed in this work right from the start, to dramaturg Peter Matheson, to Currency Press, to Arnie Gay Doolan, who helped me tell our family story, to Lisa from Cameron's, to my entire family, but especially my partner Emily, and also my daughter Charlotte. Oh no. Doing a Gwyneth Paltrow. Charlotte was the catalyst for searching for, finding and collecting these stories, and they're hers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dylan. Congratulations. The next category is a category for poetry. This year the judges were Susie Anderson, Ren Alessandra and Kemfina Tui On. And the shortlisted books are How Decent Folk Behave by Maxine Vannevar Clark, published by Hachette Australia. Human Looking by Andy Jackson, published by Giramondo Publishing. And Trigger Warning by Maria Takalanda, published by University of Queensland Press. Please, Minister, tell us the news.
I'm not that good. I wish I was. I wish I could do this in iambic pentameter, but no. So the winner of the prize for poetry is Trigger Warning by Maria Takalanda, University of Queensland Press.
I'm astonished to have won this prize against such extraordinary competition. Maxine Vannevar Clark and Andy Jackson, who are two extraordinary poets and people. Before getting into a rather long list of thank yous, I would like to acknowledge that Trigger Warning was written mostly on Wadawurrung country, and I'd like to acknowledge elders past, present and emerging. To win for this book feels particularly special, given the subject matter of some of the poems, which address the experience of growing up with domestic violence, and to have broken, Gwyneth Paltrow, geez, I don't know, what is this going to be? Is it even messier? to have broken a lifelong silence about that experience and to have been heard in this way feels incredibly important to me personally, but I also hope it opens the way to further discussion of what is not a private issue, but a social problem. So thank you to the judges for this deeply meaningful recognition. I owe many people thanks, among them Aviva Tuffield, who I've yet to meet in person. I hope she's here. Oh, great, there she is. And everyone at UQP who, despite their remote location from me in Geelong, gave me such personal warmth and terrific professional support. I also want to thank everyone associated with this wonderful prize, especially the Victorian Government. I am also grateful to the Victorian public education system for introducing me to poetry growing up in a migrant household. We didn't have many books, so this entire world would have been impenetrable to me without state high school English and literature. I also owe an enormous debt of gratitude to my husband, David McCooey, who almost 20 years ago insisted on reading some of my poems while I sat on the back step of my flat, too embarrassed to even be in the same room. He's still my first and most valued reader. I'd also like to thank, here goes the Gwyneth Paltrow, my big sister, Tina Takalando, who has been there for me since the beginning, BP, before poetry. And I'd like to thank my darling niece, Cass, for being here with me tonight too. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you and congratulations. Look, the fear is always that we will accidentally skip a category. That won't happen here on my watch. Our next category is the prize for writing for YA for young adults. This year the judges were Zana Freylon, Kath Moore and convener Caris McEwen. Thank you all for your service, and the shortlisted books are Girls in Boys' Cars by Felicity Castagna, published by Pan Macmillan Australia. The Gaps by Leanne Hall, published by Text Publishing. Tiger Daughter by Rebecca Lim, published by Allen and Unwin. Now we welcome the Minister to announce the winner.
The winner of the prize for writing for young adults is Girls in Boys' Cars by Felicity Castagna, Pan Macmillan Australia, the publisher.
Thank you. I'd like to begin by acknowledging our first storytellers and to particularly pay my respects to the people of the Kulin Nation on which we stand tonight, but also to the people of the Darug Nations on whose unceded land I wrote this book and so many others on the beautiful banks of the Parramatta River. I want to, everyone else is taller than me, I think. I want to thank, in particular, the Premier. I want to thank the staff of the Wheeler Centre. I particularly want to thank the judges and the incredibly hard work I know that goes into judging these prizes. Thank you to Zana and Cariz and to Kath for all of your hard work and dedication in judging this prize. They say it takes a village, but I know that really it takes an army for all of us to be here today. It takes an army of incredibly hardworking, graceful, underpaid people in this incredibly underfunded and under-recognised industry for us all to be here, and I am so incredibly grateful for that and will always be. I'm so excited to be here with real live people celebrating books. But not just books, these kind of vessels that carry our culture and our people and our mistakes and the terrible beauty of this land. I want to thank so many people. I do not exist in a vacuum. My books do not exist in a vacuum. I've had literally decades worth of people who have stood beside me and held my hand and made me the writer that I am today. I don't have time to acknowledge everybody, but I'd like to say a huge thank you to Claire Craig, my publisher, and to Catherine Drayton in particular, who is my agent. Girls and Boys Cars is a book about two girls who go out into the world with a lot of anger and joy and try to work out how to own and to tell their stories. There are so many books on the shortlist today that are also exploring those complex and important themes. But I'd particularly like to acknowledge the work of Leanne Hall and Rebecca Lim, who are both on the shortlist today. I've read both of your books. Actually, I've read a lot of your work, and I'm so honoured that I can be on a shortlist with two writers who I much admire and whose books are also exploring the complex, joyful, resourceful lives of women learning to speak for themselves. Thank you.
Thank you and congratulations again. Oh, the generosity of spirit in this community. I mean, at the ARIAs, people are throwing the pointy things at each other's heads. So this is just beautiful. Genuinely, congratulations. Our next category is the prize for Indigenous writing. This year, the judges were Timmer Ball, Tristan Harwood, and convener Crystal McKinnon. And the shortlisted works are Drop Bear by Evelyn Araluluan. Amazing. Just the noise level. We've just got to not take it down a bit. We can lift it if we like. I'll start again from the beginning and keep reading through and feel free to continue making noise. Drop Bear by Evelyn Araluluan, published by University of Queensland Press. Black and Blue, a memoir of racism and resilience by Veronica Goree, published by Scribe Publications. The Boy from the Mish by Gary Lonsborough, published by Allen and Unwin. Another Day in the Colony by Chelsea Wadago, published by University of Queensland Press. And now, Minister, if you do the honours.
The winner of the prize for Indigenous writing is Black and Blue, a memoir of racism and resilience by Veronica Goree, Scribe Publications.
Woman Jindi Nekdal Makda Ronnie Goree. I'm a proud Gunai Kurnow woman. My pronouns are she and her. Thank you, Nayuka. To my family that are watching, hello. I find it ironic that the state government, Victoria state government, are awarding me, considering they were the ones that committed past atrocities on my ancestors. I forgive you, nah gammon. Crystal, that's for you. I am so honoured and truly humbled about being nominated for 2 awards and absolutely thrilled to be the recipient of one. To write a memoir and to divulge so much about myself and my family, especially the atrocities of my ancestors, endured as a direct result of colonisation, is so special. To be able to write and have your written work published, I am truly grateful for Scribe Publications for believing in my story. I thank the judges in all categories, and in particular the judges in the Indigenous Writing Award. I've also read the blurb they wrote about Black and Blue, and I thank them for their kind words. This book was somewhat difficult to write, but I find it even harder to speak about. So I'm truly grateful to associate the writing of this book in happy circumstances, being the prestigious award of the VPLAs. I didn't think I'd ever be a recipient being up against the other contenders for Indigenous writing because they're all amazing writers. A huge congrats to all them for being shortlisted. Thank you so much.
Massive congratulations. Our next category, oh God, this is why we do it, isn't it? Our next category is the prize for, well, I'm going to tell you. Because it's a pretty significant one. It's a star in the room who may or may not yet be announced. So here we go. Our next category is the prize for an unpublished manuscript. This year the judges were R.W.R. MacDonald, Tressa Leclerc, and convener Ronnie Scott. And the shortlisted works are Fauna of Mirrors by Keish Zhao, Lead Us Not by Abby Lay, and The Albatross by Nina Wan. The winner for the award for unpublished manuscript will receive $15,000 in prize money. For the first time this year, they will also receive a 2-week residency at McRaith House and on the Mornington Peninsula, as Karen mentioned before. So we want to give our thanks to RMIT Culture. Minister, would you do the honours?
The winner of the prize for an unpublished manuscript is Fauna of Mirrors by Keish Zhao.
Wow, this is super overwhelming. This is obviously the first time I've ever done this. I would like to start by acknowledging the First Nations people on whose lands we stand on, and acknowledge their elders past, present and future. I actually wrote this manuscript almost exclusively at night with my laptop propped on top of my sleeping toddler, who's just there. So I'm actually surprised it even came out coherent, let alone being able to be afforded such an honour. So thank you. I have a lot of people to thank on this journey. First and foremost, my partner Lockie and my children Ada and Callan. I think one of them is coming up now. The laptop holder. It's okay, you can stay. Just for being so supportive on this journey. And I would like to acknowledge also my parents, who were really good about me reading almost all of the time through the entirety of my childhood. I'm really sorry, Mum and Dad, for all of the books I brought to the dinner table, because I'm presenting a speech, darling. I'd like to thank my writing friends and critique partners for making me into a better writer. And also all of the publishing professionals who have so generously given me their time and expertise over the past few years, so thank you. Yeah. And I would like to also acknowledge my fellow shortlistees, Abby and Nina. I read both of your excerpts and was blown away by your talent, and I'm so looking forward to reading your published versions of your books in the future. I'm really excited about that. And last but not least, I'd like to thank the VPLA judges and the Wheeler Centre and the Victorian State Government for taking a chance on my words. I was born overseas in Malaysia, and I moved here when I was 2, and I grew up, like I said, reading all the time. And when I read, I never saw any characters that looked like me, and I never saw any authors that looked like me. So I just thank from the bottom of my heart the judges for just letting me know and validating that our words do matter, that there may be a generation of future readers who will grow up seeing themselves on the page, which is just such a gratifying feeling. And that's a future I'm really excited to be a part of. Thank you so much.
Massive congratulations, Keish, and I think you might have to get used to that, the reading out loud thing. Imagine what you'll write when you get some sleep. I mean, well done, mate. So we've come to that portion of the evening where mouths are dry. It's a big deal, what I'm about to ask a friend to announce. It's the big one. You right, Minister? You good? Take a break. I'm going to stand there. I'm going to get someone else in to do this one. The winners of the 6 main suite categories are all in contention for the overall Victorian Prize for Literature, worth an additional $100,000. This is the single most valuable literary award in the country, and would you please welcome she of the fabulous hair and brilliant brain, Catherine Andrews, to the stage to announce the winner of the Victorian Prize for Literature. Welcome.
Good evening, everybody. Can I begin by acknowledging the traditional owners on the land on which we meet? These people are the reason we are here today. I'd like to pay my respects to the elders past, present and emerging, and I do so not because it's the right thing to do, but because we must every time. I'd like to also acknowledge my friend Danny Pearson, the Minister for Creative Industries, Assistant Treasurer, Minister for Regulatory Reform, Minister for Government Services. Of course, I also acknowledge the exceptional work of all the staff at Creative Victoria. Caro, CEO of the Wheeler Centre, Susan Oliver, Chair of the Wheeler Centre, and other board members here, and Wheeler Centre patrons, thank you for everything, Maureen, and best to Tony. Can I also congratulate everyone here today involved with the Wheeler Centre all year round. You work tirelessly to bring together a program of events that opens our minds to new ideas and deepens our appreciation of literature. The Wheeler Centre is one of the reasons Victoria is the cultural centre of our nation. Caro, I think you are right to describe it as a place of cultural refuge. On behalf of all Victorians, I'd like to thank the Wheeler Centre for everything you do. Since late 2014, I've had the pleasure of being closely involved with the Victorian Premier's Literary Awards. As someone who loves to read and as an admirer of the writers and thinkers who are part of these awards, this ceremony is one of my favourite annual events. The first time I really got into this prize was in December 2014, when I gleefully accepted a pile of all the books shortlisted for the prize, and I made it my mission to read every single one of those books. Looking back, I'm not really sure how I did it, but it was a special summer, unaffected by a global virus or out-of-control bushfires. Things are different now, but I still have the pleasure of reading many of the books shortlisted for this year's prize over the summer break. And can I congratulate you all on a truly outstanding body of work. It takes talent, hard work, grit and dedication to do what you do. And many of you have left me in awe, and I'm so pleased that you are being recognised for your work today. I often tell people that writers are my people. Now, that's not something you can say about every profession, but I'm sure it's something many of you here know what I mean, because something magical can happen when you fall in love with a book, a collection of words, an idea, a story. Sometimes you feel a deep connection to an author when you read their work. A closeness develops, and then a desire to get to know them better. Sometimes we read someone new and feel like they're an old friend, that if we met in real life, we'd fall back into our old conversations and laughter, and we'd be happy in each other's company. It's all a bit strange to find yourself feeling these feelings, but there is something enchanting in it, something that science and logic just cannot explain. It's your gift to us, and we are the lucky recipients. And so that's my roundabout way of saying something quite simple, and that is thank you. Thank you for what you give us and the effort that it takes. I don't know whether it's just the past few years or because I'm getting older, but I do feel an increasing sense of gratitude to you all. Your work is something solid, and we can hold on to it knowing it will outlive this moment in time. Now, the Victorian Prize for Literature, worth $100,000, is the single most valuable literary award in the country, and it's a recognition by the Victorian Government that literary excellence is something that we as a community and as a state deeply respect, value and treasure. It's also a recognition that creativity, thinking and writing must continue to be supported and encouraged if we want it to grow and flourish in the years ahead. Now, that husband of mine always says that a good speech is a short speech. So I won't go on, except to say that it is my very great pleasure to announce the winner of the 2022 Victorian Premier's Prize for Literature, who will receive an additional $100,000. That person is Veronica Gorry. Please join me in congratulating Veronica for Black and Blue, a memoir of racism and resilience by Scribe Publications.
I haven't. Oh my goodness. I haven't written anything for this because I truly wasn't expecting it. Thank you to the judges, thank you to the Wheeler Centre and everyone else that contributes towards this award. I'm truly grateful. I truly don't feel like I deserve it. I don't know what to say. Do I? Yeah, I want to. I can't even remember if I acknowledged the traditional owners here before in my first one. Yeah, the Bunurong people. I want to acknowledge the Bunurong people and to pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and to say that sovereignty has never been ceded. And I'm so grateful that my book's done so well and has raised raised some talking topics in relation to my people, especially deaths in custody and the way police are fucking killing us. Also, I want to give a message to the Minister for Justice. Raise the age of criminal responsibility, please. And also no child should be locked up as well. So Naka's reminding me that, like, I can't imagine when my kids raising my 3 children, them being locked up. And it breaks my heart to know that it's kids as young as 10 caged up right now and without their family. So thank you to the Wheeler Centre, and I'm just in disbelief. Thank you so much.
Look, a huge congratulations to everyone. This is far out. This is fun, you guys. Get me to give away cash more often. Oh, massive congratulations. What a glorious, glorious, glorious time this has been. Well, friends, the weather held out for this wonderful news, and for that we are truly grateful. I'd like to congratulate all the winners and the shortlisted writers, and of course their publishers and their agents and the people who are all here as part of the ecosystem of this absolutely thriving, despite all odds, gang. I'm concluding tonight's adventures. I'd like to make some quick thank yous before you get a drink, before you buy another book, and before you just enjoy this moment. Thank you to our DJ, Jennifer Lovelace, to our glorious Auslan interpreters, to Amber and to Glenda, thank you. And to our official photographer, TJ Garvey. Thank you to Mabu for the food and the M Pavilion for serving the drinks, of course. And thank you again for all the wonderful work. Thank you, Minister Catherine Andrews, Wheeler Centre, Caro, every single human being who could be here. Go, enjoy yourself. Let's get this party started. Well done.